Hey everybody, welcome to this issue of Staffing Monthly, where we are taking a deep dive into the recruiting quadrants. And if you're not familiar, if you haven't actually watched any of the other videos yet, I'll tell you, you're actually starting in a pretty great place. But that being said, let me give you a refresher of what the recruiting quadrants are. These are the four buckets or the four segments that you should be focused on if you're looking to truly optimize your candidate flow into your agency. And these quadrants all interact with your website or your applicant tracking system in some way, shape, or form, but they are job ad strategy. We all know that one. We also focus on recruitment marketing and things like programmatic job ad management, things like that. We also focus on employee referral programs. You know that I've been championing that all years, the year of the referral, because that is really the frontier that is delivering the best candidates right now. The data is astounding at how much stronger your candidate placements are when they come through your employee referral program. And then obviously the other one is the ATS mining. Like, how do you actually get the most candidate flow out of your database? And what we're doing as we explore these quadrants is we're talking about tools and resources and techniques to help you optimize your candidate flow through each one of the quadrants. And today we actually have a bonus because we're talking about one that doesn't fit in just one quadrant. It underpins two solidly, and it has some residual impact on the third one that you'll see. Anything that interacts with a website, which we'll talk about. But the two that I really want to focus on are the employee referral program. I'll explain why in a second. And then also recruitment marketing when you're driving people through your website first. It does also impact the job ad or the job board strategy, but sometimes people will link directly to a career site or they'll link directly to an application. And there are some workflows out there that bypass the website. That being said, if you want to get people, if you want to create the highest conversion rate of people that go from your website into your ATS through your application, there's one element that you need: social proof. We have become a society that is just fascinated with ratings and reviews. And we look at everything we do in our lives based on 5-star reviews. We'll look at Amazon for what we're actually wanting to buy, and we'll look at the ratings and reviews of that product. We'll go online and we'll look for restaurants and the whole nine. We're always looking for reviews, and that's because we're a society that needs social proof. So the tool we're actually going to be showcasing today is a company called Great Recruiters, and this is exactly what they're doing for the staffing industry. They are bringing trust, credibility, and transparency to the recruitment industry to create that social proof. So it gives you, a recruiter or a staffing agency, it will give your recruiters a chance to showcase how great they really are. And today I actually have Adam Conrad, the founder and CXO of Great Recruiters, with us. And he's going to talk a little bit about the platform, why he's doing it, but more importantly, he's going to show it to us so you can see firsthand what this is like and how it can give you the social proof that you need to increase your candidate flow to your website and get better candidates. Adam, welcome to Staffing Monthly. I appreciate you being here and letting us take a look at the platform.
Yeah, Dan, thanks so much for having me. I think you hit on a number of things that I'll probably reiterate because I think there is such a strong alignment of what you talk about and the reviews economy and how people trust. And we're in this digital remote world now, and we're not meeting people face to face. And so, one of the biggest barriers in our industry, I've been in it 25 years. And as a recruiter, one of the biggest barriers was transparency. How do you know I can be trusted? Everyone's saying the same thing. And so, yeah, really excited to show you all the things that we're doing. And I mentioned, we're in 3 quadrants, something
You
that
are.
we'll show you what we're releasing. But I mean, we're aggressively continuing to build this platform based on just all the success that our clients have had. So I really appreciate you being having me on here, and I'm excited to share with you today.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't include you in this, especially after, one of the recent interviews that we did in March with one of your great recruiters that just talked about very specifically the impact that it's had in her business, that she actually gets more referrals to her, more people will come through her candidate pipeline because she broadcasts her great recruiters rating front and center. And I mean, it was near perfect. It's somebody that if I looked at this, I'm like, okay, this is a whole lot of ratings. It was thousands of people that actually rated her, the experience that they got, and it was near perfect. I'm like, this is somebody that if I was looking to put my career in the hands of a recruiter, I would definitely go with her. So I'd be remiss if I didn't include Great Recruiters for what you're doing on the social proof front. But before I jump into it, you touched on this a little bit, but I want to hear it, man. why are you really doing this? Like, what is the mission behind Great Recruiters? What are you trying to accomplish in this space?
Yeah, I mean, really, I started this venture probably 7 years ago, and we ended up launching our product in the beginning of 2018. And myself, as I mentioned, I've been in the recruiting industry for about 25 years. I wore a hat as a recruiter. I was recruiting manager. I had been involved in sales and projects. I had run recruitment teams, ran the operation for about a mid-sized IT and engineering firm. And one of the biggest things that I realized is even the greatest recruiters were confronted with the same barriers of those that may not be great. And that's the trust and that's the transparency. And so, although I did a great job, I'm saying the same thing that everybody else is. And so, as I always say, don't tell people how great you are, prove it. And really wanted to develop a platform that put recruiters in control of their reputation, put staffing agencies in control of their reputation. And when you think about it, recruiters are the biggest marketers for any staffing agency. And you
100%.
really can't change behavior at an agency level. You have to get down to the desk level. So it was really important to get real-time feedback down to the desk level, down to the recruiter, down to the salespeople of the quality of service that they're providing. So you can share that with the people you're looking to engage with and hopefully increase that transparency, increase that trust to get that call back. Everybody's website says the same thing, right? And with our clients, they don't need to say it. Like you said, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews that are saying this is somebody I can trust. And if I'm a job seeker, do I want to work with any recruiter that's just out there? No, I want to work with somebody who's Great Recruiter certified, that has that social proof that my peers have already pre-vetted to say this is somebody you can trust. And really why I did this is because it's so painful to find a job. As a job seeker, it's so painful.
Yeah.
There's black holes. I got to submit a resume. I'm exposing myself. I'm applying to jobs. It's a black hole. I don't know what's going on. And so in my perfect world, why wouldn't you want to have a bench of great recruiters that you can trust, that you know? So when you're ready to make that next move, why not reach out to that trusted group who can start working on your behalf rather than having to just post and pray and hope somebody's going to call you back and think you're doing great, as AI didn't catch the right buzzword and moves you on and you didn't get a call back. So really, I developed this not just for the recruiters and the agency, but I created this for the industry. And through transparency, we're going to just make this industry great and put quality controls in place that really have never existed.
I love that, man. I love that you're doing that with the industry. And I got to share that because of my influence in the industry and in my social circles, I'll often get requests from people that said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job. Do you have any recommendations?" And one of my number one recommendations is to find a recruiter or some recruiters that specialize in the industries that you're looking to work in and network with them. And so I might not be making a referral directly to a recruiter, but what they're going to do is they're going to go do a Google search, which is another funny side story I'll share in a second. But they'll do a Google search and they might say recruiters for software developers or recruiters for bilingual engineers or whatever it might be, right? And then if you have a great recruiter's profile that pops up, one, you're going to get better search rankings, and because it helps with that, because it's more exposure the way that you set it up. But two, if they're looking at it and they're like, here's a recruiter that specializes in software developers that has no reviewer feedback, and then here's another one that shows, 1,000 reviews and they're ranking 4.5 stars, like that's where they're going to go. I mean, that's just human nature, bitch. But if you look at it, the Google, if you say recruiters are, Google will give you a whole lot of, they'll finish that sentence. And you and I know what it says. So, don't spoil it. But for anyone watching this, literally go do that Google search. And I think you'll understand that Adam has a noble mission here.
It has gotten better. When I started, it was not very good, but my hope is my mission is complete when it says recruiters are great. That's my goal. So
I love it.
when you do that, I know my mission has been completed, and we still have some ways to go. But really excited about what we're doing.
Just before we jump into the screen share, you need to get a t-shirt made that looks like a Google search bar that actually just has that font in there. Like
I
that would
love
be
it.
solid. I love that, man. But
I love that idea. All right, there you go. I'll get the
I in
rights
it,
from
man. I
Google.
will buy the first one, man. I'm in on that. I think it's great. That's a noble mission.
That's
So take us through it. Let us take a look, see how does this work? Like just walk us through kind of how to engage with great recruiters and how the social proof piece really works for a recruiter and agency.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen and get rolling for you. Yes. All right. So, you know, experience is everything everyone's talking about. Everyone talks about wanting to create a great experience. And to me, great experience exists at the human level. Great experience exists at the desk level. Experiences aren't created through an agency or anything. It's we're a human to human business. And so the first part is really helping our clients ensure that they're creating great experiences. And when you're getting that feedback, right now, a lot of firms are judging their recruiters based on their submittals and interviews and hires. And that's important, but they're missing this whole other piece out there of the not just the quantitative, but the qualitative. Really the experience you create is not what you say, it's what other people think of you. And so when you're able to get that full perspective of who you are and what people think, you're able to really unleash that full potential. And as an agency, when you have a bunch of recruiters that are maximizing their full potential, it's ultimately going to maximize your growth. And there's really two halves to our platform. One is around the experience management. Our platform allows you to get that real-time insight down to the desk level, not just on your recruiters, but across your entire organization. And then it's about brand promotion. There's a lot of ways to get feedback. You might be using an NPS, you might be using a survey, but the reality is all of that, one, is controlled by you, and two, there's not an easy way to get it out there. And so with Great Recruiters, we brought the best of both worlds together to help you create great experiences, manage that experience that you're doing, and also give you the tools to be able to promote that. So it's not what you say, how great you are, it's what other people say. And, ironically, you said reviews are everywhere. Well, Great Recruiters uses reviews as well. And recently we've been recognized as a top performer on G2, which is a software platform designed to get reviews for companies like ours. And, we're in two categories: enterprise feedback management and online reputation, two areas that we completely excel at. And, just really proud for us that our customers have provided us that feedback, because it's important to us as well. And we use this to say, hey, look, don't take our word for it. Read what other people think about working with us. So really proud of this accomplishment for our team.
You should be, man. And that's actually interesting that in the category online reputation management, which is a broad category, not focused just on the recruiting industry, to be ranked as high as you are, stacked against, that's top 10% for sure, to be stacked against all the reputation management companies that are out there that focus on, industry wide or just general brand reputation management.
Yeah.
That's kudos to you, man.
Thanks
Nice
so
job.
much. And I think a lot of it is it's being proactive. And I think that's why we're such a valuable platform for our customers, is because they're not sitting back and monitoring what's happening. They're taking control and bringing that feedback back into their organization. And you ask, like, why do we exist? Well, we exist because we live in a reviews economy. You already hit it on it, Dan. Where am I going to go to eat? Where am I going to go to stay on my vacation? Who's my Uber driver? I mean, you even have a rating as an Uber passenger. And ultimately, you said you're going to get a phone call. You're not going to know who they are. They're from Astute Technical. And our pages are indexing as high as just below their own website. And so
Yeah.
you can see for Astute, 6,179 reviews at 4.7. I mean, this is showing a lot of social proof they're trusted. So as they're doing the research, we go to Google, and what are your Google results? And we can talk more about that, how we're helping. And ultimately, if you think about it, top talent wants to work with great recruiters and great agencies that they can trust. They just don't know if they can trust them. So when we look at these two examples, right, here's Shannon Ward. She's an IT recruiter. That's awesome. But here's Shannon Ward with a 4.8 rating, 123 reviews, testimonials talking about the way that she's helped others. This is what we want to do, is help create this social proof up front. So Shannon Ward number 2 is getting that call back.
And she
And
would, honestly, as soon as you put the screen up, my eyes gravitated right to the stars. Like, I feel like that's how institutionalized I am into the rating society. Like, I didn't even I had to go back. We normally read left to right, right? But like in this instance, I actually had to read the context that I am an IT recruiter with 5 years experience last.
Right. And this is what we want to do. This is who she is. She isn't who she says she is. She's what other people say. And this is helping to share that social proof. And we can dig more into that. And really what we've learned is this: out of our customer base, the fastest growing agencies that we know understand that recruiters and their brand reputation will always be the strongest competitive advantage. There's all
100%.
this talk about automation and AI and all these great tools, but the reality is they're not a competitive advantage. They're an expectation now. Automation should be in place to help make this experience and the process better for the people you're serving, not just internally for your own organization. And so those firms, we can talk more about the Great Recruiter certification, but these are the firms that have processes in place that ensure the quality of their services throughout the entire journey. And although the name suggests great recruiters, we really were built to elevate the performance and add value across the entire organization. So yes, you're going to get your recruiter reviews, but this is helping leaders be better leaders. They're in the know. They understand what the people think about their team. It's easier for them to do training and development. From an operation standpoint, it's understanding what parts of the process are working and what are not. And we can help measure all of these. And then from the marketing standpoint, it's creating all this great digital assets that marketing teams just are dying for to consistently share across their website, on Google, across all the social platforms to help showcase, what people think about working with their sales teams, their recruiters, and the overall agency. And then from a sales perspective, as you're going in to sell into new clients, everyone's saying the same thing. With great recruiters, you can prove the quality of your services. You can say, we use a third-party platform to ensure the quality of what we do. In fact, here are the recruiters that are going to support you. And this, once again, just creates transparency and digital trust.
I love that too. Obviously, you know me, I have a little bit of a sales lean to me. And I've always had to ask that, answer the question, why should I choose you? And I would love it, because if you're a competitive salesperson, like, the competitors in your industry, who your prospects and clients are shopping you against typically, right? So if it's me, I'm going to basically have both websites right on T, and I'm going to say, here's why. If you were a job seeker, where would you go? Who would you entrust your reputation to, right? And they're naturally going to pick the one that shows great recruiters. And then you can actually use the reverse logic and say, and if you were a job seeker and you didn't really care about who you entrusted your reputation to, you might not care about this rating, but would you want that employee coming through your door, on working on your floor here? And that just shows you, like, that's one of those things. Okay, yeah, we're not all fishing from the same pond, or if we are, people with great recruiters have better gear, So I like that. That's a good piece. One thing I want to comment, because I never even thought about this, and we've talked a bunch of times, and this never really hit me until you just said it. You get all of this actual marketing content in there. Like, it's part of the service offering, but you get content that you can share that's relevant, but also you get Google rankings, and companies pay a lot of money to actually improve their ranking on Google. And you're actually helping do that just as a byproduct of using Great Recruiters tool. I think that's pretty neat.
It's a cherry on top.
Yeah, it is. I hadn't thought about it like that before.
Yeah, and as we kind of walk through how the platform works, we use a simple framework called Camper, right? It's about capturing real-time feedback. That's the first piece. And so this is going to go well beyond just an NPS and a simple rating. This is getting feedback, as I mentioned, down to the desk level. It's a human-to-human interaction. So it's not what do you feel like your experiences with the agency, but what was it like with that individual? And how do you feel about that recruiter? And how likely are you to recommend that recruiter? And it helps you bring in that positive, right? Recruiters go up to bat a lot and they strike out a lot. We don't place everybody we talk to, but when you get a review back that talks about how much you help that individual, even if you didn't place them, I mean, it really just empowers your recruitment team and makes them feel better, because we know recruiting managers aren't giving enough pats on the back for such a difficult job that they're doing. But also it helps you through the real-time notifications, which we'll talk about, is if the review is negative, it brings that right to you. You're not finding that on other third-party site. It's coming directly back to your organization where you can take action to resolve those issues before they become problems. And so the recruiter reviews, we can easily capture real-time feedback across the entire journey. It's automated at key moments. So at submittal, at placement, for many, it's, at that first conversation. We have automated reminders to ensure that we're always helping to collect the most information. In fact, side note, as we looked at our clients, we're generating over 10 times more review data than all of their other review sites combined. And we typically that, yeah.
Like Facebook, Google, all of that?
Add them all up. I mean, look at the example of Astute. I mean, 6,000 reviews, right? So we have more data, more information than any other review site if you added them all up, because you're taking that proactive approach.
I was going to say that's what it is right there. Like, because you're actually soliciting it, where the other ones are very reactionary. And unfortunately, when you're reactionary, that's where you get that ratio of 10 people will say bad things about you, one will say good, so that makes sense. Quick question on this one though. So if I'm looking at this, I love the ease of the email and the button. I think that's cool. Is it going to be a Great Recruiters logo, or is it going to be ABC Staffing's logo in the corner there?
ABC Staffing. You can brand and customize the emails to fit your brand and everything. It's just powered by Great Recruiters. So great question, Jan. But I mean, definitely it's going to be, we're the vehicle. You're the hero, right? We're just the guide that's helping you there.
Love it.
But beyond the recruiters, as I mentioned, Great Recruiters has really evolved into a total experience management platform. And we built out these review prints, which are basically templated processes for capturing reviews beyond your recruiters. It's your compliance team. It's the onboarding team or process. It's how is the beginning of the assignment, end of assignment. We're getting feedback from place talent on the end clients and the facilities. I mean, just take a step back and think of that. If you're doing volume hiring at a client, how amazing is it to get feedback from that place talent on the experience they're having working at that client? Just imagine
you can actually do it as almost like assignment or contract level.
Yes. So we're getting feedback, like on the healthcare side, we're getting feedback down to the facility level, down to the ICU, down to the ER. And what it's enabling them to do is to have better conversations in their QBRs, helping them understand, like, why aren't we getting the best talent? Well, you're paying 20% less, and here's what people think about working there. And so it's really allowing our clients to be more consultative when they're engaging with their clients. And on the flip side, we're arming the recruiters with real-time information. So as they're pitching these jobs and opportunities to the candidates, they can say, hey, look, this is what the last 5 people said about working there. And once again, it all goes under how do we create more transparency, give them more information to make better decisions about where they want to go to work. And then finally, go ahead.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I was just thinking about this. Do any of your customers almost use that data, like almost like mini market comparative data, to like go to a customer that maybe attrition's a little bit higher, and they say, hey, we want to show you some feedback, sort of masked, if you will, to protect privacy, but masked feedback of a lot of our other clients, or maybe similar clients to you, and how people feel about the process. So maybe you can learn, like, am I asking that right? Like, can you glean best practices from like certain clients and then share that with other clients to help improve them during that QBR process?
Yeah, you're nailing it down exactly. So on the healthcare side, what is a traveler looking for? They're talking about how's the core staff, the management, the safety, how's the patient ratio. So you're able to measure at those things that are most meaningful to that place talent. And so you can go ahead and collect that information across all your clients and across all your different departments in that organization. So, I mean, it really is bringing it. It's not you, right? You think about it from the sales side. We're telling you your hiring managers are tough to work with, or the environment's not great. This isn't your opinion anymore. This is the opinion of the people that are actually working there with feet on the street. And so it's a really powerful piece that we put in place to really help you get feedback, not just on your organization, but outside your organization. And then the final piece is inside your organization. So we have anonymous reviews that you can get feedback, down to the leadership, the core values, and we do it in a way that's 100% anonymous. So these are really the 3 main things we have. As I quickly go through it, we have our core reviews, which is about everything inside your organization. It's your people and your processes, right? So we have a review set up with that. We have our external reviews that collect feedback to understand what it's working at your end client and what the end client thinks about your talent. So we can also get the feedback on every placement that you make from the hiring manager's perspective. It's almost, it's an employee review, but to get feedback on that quality. And once again, you can imagine if that's high scores, how you can leverage that in your marketing from a sales perspective to go open new doors at other clients. And then the final piece we have is our internal, and it's really that suggestion box. And so we've created anonymous reviews for organizations where people can safely provide their opinions on things like leadership and core values and management. And when you do this through SurveyMonkey, somebody internally is always driving that. And there's this feeling of, I don't want to be honest because I feel like there's going to be retribution. Through Great Recruiters, we completely anonymize this whole process.
So how do you really create a sense of anonymity where people feel more comfortable? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. You can send out those surveys like, this is completely anonymous. And everyone's like, no, it's not. Like, so how do you really do that though?
Well, it's through trust of what we're already doing as a platform. And so it's trust that there is no way for them to identify. It's how it's been developed. And so nobody internal into the organization or us would even know who is responding to those questionnaires, those reviews. And so it's really important from a trust perspective that we feel is important is to protect the integrity of the platform. We have to guarantee from us that it is anonymous.
So that makes sense. So that's the way the data filters through you anyway, and you are 100% not passing any identifying information onto the leadership of your customer company.
Right. Now, if you have two employees and one fills it out and one doesn't, it might be a little bit easy to figure out who it is. So I would say be sensitive with that. But overall, this is like the experience management. So what it's like from an outside looking in, what's it on the outside, and what's it look like on the inside, and the experience that you drive as an organization from a talent attraction. All of these pieces are important, not just to help service the people that you're placing your clients, but also from a talent attraction internally.
So is this truly internal? Well, like I would send this to my staff of 50 internal recruiters or whatever, or would this go out to my contractor field workforce as well for suggestions? Like, what level of internal is it?
Yeah, I mean, we call it internal. It's really anonymous reviews. It's a review type that anonymizes who the respondents are. And
Okay.
so a lot of people really be driven it for that internal feedback. But I suppose if you wanted to go outside to get that anonymous feedback, you could do that as well.
I don't see the need. I know the value of just limiting the surveys to like internal stuff, because there's going to be questions or suggestions or feedback that I would like that I'm not like a contract worker's not going to know, right? If I'm like, hey, is our job ad strategy right? Or do we have enough tools for our recruiters? Or, if I want suggestions around like really optimizing and resourcing our internal team, contractors won't know how to give that feedback. So I was curious, like what level of review does that go to?
Yep. So that's kind of all about collecting and capturing real-time feedback. And feedback's great to have, but you need easy ways to take action. And so we have automated actions to make sure that you're responding to, and there's some really cool things that we're doing from an automation standpoint. One, once a review is completed, we can set it up of who gets those notifications. It's the recruiting manager, it's the recruiter, or it's the person on compliance, but we make sure that those people who need to respond to those reviews are instantly notified. We have a positive review thank you that goes out to anybody who provides over a 4-star review. And this is a great way to help boost your Google scores. So everyone who had a positive review, you can kick off a positive review thank you that says, Dan, thanks so much for your positive review. Here's what you said. Would you mind putting this on our Google page? And it will open up directly to your Google review page. They can cut and paste what they said, and they can plug it right in there. And as you talked about, there's huge benefits to the SEO side of getting those Google My Business reviews on there as well. And we just make that a really easy, simple, automated process. In addition, we want to make sure that you're getting the most feedback. And so we have automated reminders. We have a kick the can. We allow the candidates to say, hey, timing's not right for me to give a review. Remind me in a week. We have the referral generation piece built into the review process. And then we have easy ways to automate and share testimonials on social. So you need the feedback. And if you're using SurveyMonkey, or if you're using some other third-party tool that wasn't designed to get feedback and you're getting NPS, this is where a lot of times there's huge value in this, because there isn't an easy way to distribute this information automatically. It's a lot of manual process of figuring out who needs to have this information.
Yeah, for sure. So tough question. And I'm not even 100% certain that I'm going to frame it right or reference it right, but isn't there some sort of legal regulation either recently passed or being proposed that regulates your Google reviews, meaning who you can ask, that would, like, it prevents you from basically only asking people with positive reviews or segmenting it? Isn't there something in place like that, or am I completely...
There's a lot of things that are in place, and it's no different than you just one-offing. You think of the end of the year surveys that get asked, to win awards and stuff. I mean, everybody's kind of doing it. We're staying close to that, and obviously we'll maintain compliance. But right now,
Okay.
we're making the ease of what you normally would have done manually. We would make that automated for you.
Okay. And I believe I read that more along the lines of like Amazon reviews, because like there was a lot of phishing to get fake reviews to boost product sales, and
Right.
obviously the FTC wants to squash that. So like I think it stemmed from that, but I remember reading something about that somewhere, that this just triggered me when you were like, we can automatically drive
Mhm.
people to do Google reviews, and I wasn't sure where that would be. But as long as you're paying attention to that and you're going to be compliant with it, then
For sure.
awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And so once you have it, the other piece that we look at is you need to be able to measure those results. And so we have a dashboard where all this data comes into, and we stack rank the person being reviewed, whether it be your recruiters, your sales team, and we put them into a leaderboard. And this is really the command center where you can really drill into, for training and onboarding, who's doing well. You can create a blueprint. You can spotlight and identify people that need a little extra help in some areas. And I'll show you a live example here because I think it's great. What I love is our customers are gamifying this. They're putting awards and recognition. They're putting compensation packages. They're doing a lot around this to create fun competitive competition amongst their teams, and they're competing to create great experience. So it's a win-win for the customers, for the candidates, as well as for the recruiters. But this is really big and critical to be able to identify those areas of improvement. And as I kind of show you here, I'll show you a live example of this
So
dashboard.
let me ask two questions, because I love the
Yeah.
gamification of this, and on that. So do you have one, just a real life example of how somebody has gamified it, if that's not what you're already going to show, like an example of like a challenge they ran or whatnot, that I would love for best practices? And then two, is there a Great Recruiters wide sort of March Madness, if you will, if you're like, hey, across all of great recruiters that are out there that have the pride to be a great recruiter and go out through this process and get your ratings and reviews and publicly display it, do you almost like, in some level anonymously, or maybe even not anonymously, like stack rank them and basically say, here's how people to rank, and actually issue awards to the top people in categories?
Yeah, so right now we have launched our top rated agencies, which is a aggregation of the recruiters that are on their team and their overall reviews. We're going to be doing a lot more around that to launch quarterly top rated, not just for agencies, but for recruiters in specific disciplines. And there's a few more things that'll be coming out. Let's just put it this way. The Great Recruiters is a product today, and it's going to become a destination. And you can imagine how many candidates would love to come to a certain place and find great recruiters that are stack ranked in their industry, in their discipline, that they can connect with. Much like you said, go find a great recruiter. Well, just without saying too much, we'll have a lot more to talk about in the upcoming months.
So I definitely want in on this. I think this would be a lot of fun. I actually want to see if I can maybe even throw a sponsored award at this
Yeah.
from the training company. I think that'd be cool. Last question about this side of it, because I know you go down to the recruiter level. There's two situations that I'm thinking about. What happens if you get a recruiter working for an agency, and while they are a great recruiter user, let's just say they're not a great recruiter and their ratings and reviews are suboptimal, they're not great, and then eventually they separate on, like, how hard is it for the organization to sort of remove that person's rankings once they are separated from the company. And I asked because that's the LinkedIn example. I can't tell you how many people still show as working for different agencies on LinkedIn that have just never updated their profile. So like, how long does a recruiter's profile stick on their account and affect their overall aggregate rating?
So the overall aggregate, because they are part of what that agency is, we actually have two different ratings that we look at, and we can drive into the profile. Is that we look at your overall total reviews and ratings while on the platform at lifetime. They'll always feed into that, but then we have your reviews and ratings over the past 12 months. I think that's one of the problems with many review sites out there is that we want relevancy. I don't want to buy a pizza based on how good it was 3 years ago. I care about how it was it recently.
Yeah.
So we do a lot to kind of bring that to the forefront of how well you are performing the last 12 months. And so from a recruiter perspective, the data will always influence that score. But the hope is that they use this dashboard. So for example, if I'm looking at Justin and I see, our comparative analytics. So these are the 5 key things recruiters are rated in. And this is an acronym for GREAT. Are they genuine, responsive, experienced, advisor, and transparent?
Brilliant.
It's then compared, how do you rate against all other agencies on the platform? And then you can see an individual rating. How are they compared to your own agency? Right. So Justin here is ahead of the overall aggregate for the agency. But I might go down here as someone that's struggling, and I might look at Alicia, and I can see from a genuineness, it's a 4.5, 4.3 on responsive, 4.2 on advisor. So the goal here is not to get rid of Alicia. The goal is to put a spotlight to say Alicia can use some training. How can Alicia adopt some of the best practices that Justin might be doing? The goal is, how do we get, you think about 20% of your recruiters do 80% of the work. How can we get 40% of your recruiters doing 100% of it? And how do we up level those recruiters? And what we find is people don't want negative feedback. And recruiters, I think, first are hesitant a little bit, but once they start getting the feedback, the recruiters I want on my team are going to embrace this to make themselves better. And this is where we can drill in specifically from a training and development perspective to help those recruiting managers or a training development team, create programs to help them increase their advisory score. We had a client whose advisory score as a total was very low. And so we consulted them and said, here are some things that you can do to be a better advisor. You only place 5% of the people you talk to, but you can create value for 100%. So what are the things that we can do to help you create more value and be a better advisor for them? So this is one of the ways that this leaderboard is used.
I like that. Side question. Let's just say that Justin Henderson, who is top ranked great recruiter here at this company, let's say Justin leaves this company and goes to work for another staffing agency, a recruiting firm. Can he take his great recruiter's profile ratings with him, or do they belong to the company?
They belong to the company. Okay. But we do have an individual plan that Justin could go ahead and sign up for and continue building that. I think that goes to the LinkedIn recruiter thing. Like, what is the company's and what not? The company's paying for it. It's the company's data. It stays with the company. What we find actually happens, Daniel, is they're feel great about what they're doing. They've built this great reputation. They're being compensated, right? Yeah. We're seeing retention rates increase at our clients because of this. They're getting more awards and more recognition. So this, we really want to be also a retention tool, because I would ask what's going on in the organization that Justin, if he's the top, why is he leaving? That would make me question things happening internally.
Yeah, no, and that's a valid point. And just to put a pin on that one, or a bow on that one, if Justin did leave or anyone did leave and they wanted to get the free, or not the individual profile, there's a way they can create a great recruiter's individual profile for free, right? Like that's
correct.
Okay. So low,
yep.
So
and
low
they can
risk
have a paid
started.
account as well, and they can go get those reviews. And we've told companies, look, if the company wants to release those reviews to any individual that leaves and they give us permission, then we'll go ahead and transfer those reviews.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That's fair. I just was curious how the inner workings work there. Yeah, take it away.
We need to be fair to the people who are paying for it. And, we also need to be helpful for the recruiters. And that's why we have our individual plan as well. So So measuring results, that's really how it works. And then the piece that's just I love is how do you promote this stuff, right? I have all this great review. If I'm getting it through another third-party platform, or if I'm getting Google reviews, how does a recruiter leverage Google reviews other than saying the agency when it's them reaching out? We have individual profile pages for every recruiter where they can showcase not their career experience, but who they are as a human being. What do they love to do? Why do they love to recruit? They can add a video. And once again, it's complete transparency. You can add a review, you can recommend, so they can collect, friends' recommendations from this. You can showcase your reviews in your job. So this is the number one thing recruiters should be using in their outbound outreach. It's Dan, I help people like you. Don't take my word for it. You can check out a little about me and what people think about working with me. You can check out my jobs. That's the third part. And really, we want to help them have a full understanding of who that recruiter is, which is increasing callbacks 25-30%.
So we need to talk about this for a second. So this is sweet. So this is a URL. This is their own individual page that they have on the Great Recruiters platform. So they could actually be putting this link, this URL, sort of in the contact section of their LinkedIn page. So if people are finding them on LinkedIn, they can say, come see more about me and my recruitment here, to kind of drive traffic to this. And then obviously in their outreach, like you talked about, which would be there. So that's a way that they could use that. Jobs, is that linked to the company career site, or does that have to get populated manually?
So we just launched our Bullhorn integration and Labor Edge integration. We're starting to integrate this. So these jobs are automatically fed in from the ATS. They can also manually add this, but these jobs now are what jobs are assigned to Mariah. And when you apply to it, it's going to go back as a web response against that job. And so what we've essentially created, Dan, is something that's never existed in the industry, is a personal job board for every single recruiter. So
Yeah.
Here's who I am. Here's what people think about me. Here are my jobs. It's a one-stop shop for candidates to go ahead and engage with that recruiter.
Can candidates set up notifications so when their recruiter posts something that is like keyword, or they'll be notified of like a specific job title or word?
I'm going to just put a pin in that, Dan, and we'll talk in a few months.
Oh, okay. I'm going to hold you to it. Oh, man.
Hold me to it, man. There's a lot of great things that are happening. So if you think about what we've done as an organization, we want to make sure that your company is driving a great experience. We then introduced all of our social proof. How do we help the world know? We have our awards and recognition. How do we as a company stand behind those companies, those firms that are doing a great job, and those recruiters? And how do we put our stamp of approval? And then the next evolution is, how do we help all these candidates and clients find the great recruiters and great staffing agencies? And that's the next piece that we'll talk a lot about. But this is kind of an introduction to what you can imagine if Mariah is one of 5,000 recruiters and you're looking for somebody in IT, or it's healthcare, it's accounting and finance, being able to find your talent agent for life.
I love that, man. That is solid. Oh, yeah.
It's good. So there's a lot we do around the promotion, is kind of walk through. Not only is it the recruiter profile, but we also have company profiles. As you look at this example of benchmark, when you Google benchmark, not only are we showing up just below their own website and LinkedIn, we're being we're showcased as other reviews from the web on Google My Business. We're helping to drive those Google scores. So when somebody searches for benchmark, they don't know who they are. We want to make sure that page one Google result looks great.
And you weren't kidding. If you look at that Facebook, 5 out of 5, the ranking is technically higher, but it's 6 people, which are probably the significant others of the 6 people that work there. But then you look at it, was like 600 or whatever.
Yeah.
Great recruiters.
Well, and here's a live example. I just Googled Astute Technical, and just below their website is the Great Recruiters. We have other reviews from the web down here. We can go into their own profile page. If we start driving through their website, we provide a lot of digital assets and embed, where you can embed your Great Recruiters data directly into your website. So whether they're on social, on your website, on Google, we want to make sure that the most positive stuff shows up here. And so here's recruiting great people, power sustainable world. You know, we come down here and you can look at their sectors, our vacancies, all this great information. We have our review side that shows up on here. When you look at the oops, it looks like they have to. So there they have the great
Whoa,
recruiters
right there.
right there. This links automatically to their great recruiters profile page to showcase their what they've done. So not only on the company page, you can read their reviews.
All right, so I gotta call something out because I can't be all rainbow, blue sky, and sunshines, right? I gotta balance it
Do
out.
it, man.
Why does this say? So scroll up just a little bit. Why does it say 6,190 reviews here, but now go back over? It looked like it said 5,000 and some on the website. This is 5,524 reviews.
These are all the reviews. So we have two review types. We have the unsolicited and we have solicited.
Okay.
So this is showing all reviews total, even those that are unverified, which will show that it's an unverified review, but that's their total number. This is showing all their verified reviews.
Got it. And they got basically 1,300 in the last 12 months. So they're doing over 100 reviews a month, which is probably nothing even, most people aren't getting that on Facebook or Google.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the beautiful. Look at this. I mean, I've been talking to different recruiters at different times, but Esther stood out by getting me the nitty-gritty role, the best candidate. I wasn't expecting to go that far for me and getting the details, but she went all the way and I was the right candidate. Like, this is stuff that just happened a day ago, right? So this is amazing. This is what we want, is to show the
Look at that.
nature.
And this is great. So and I'll butcher the name, but Wyand is an asset to your business. He's personable, takes time to discuss all areas of potential job. Like, that's solid. Like, if you're Wyand, you're definitely gonna be throwing that one in your performance review in the quarter to say, hey, look at this.
Yeah, and I think from also, the transparency standpoint, they're saying, hey, here's all our great recruiters. You can go to their pages, look at their jobs. Like, here's an organization that is just stacked up with recruiters all over the place that are doing an amazing job. So this is all about the transparency that we're looking to drive for the organizations.
So, okay, so that you can actually put their tenure as well. I see the 1 year experience, 9 years. So somewhere in their profile, they can actually set like when they started. So okay, that's cool too.
Yep,
all right.
Yep. And so, this is really where we're going, is to take the data that we've been aggregating and giving our clients ways to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward and proving the quality of the services that they have. So it's these SEO optimized profiles. We have this example of these review cards that can be easily one-click shared through social. I've got an example here. I'm probably going to refresh. Yeah, it refreshed. So I had a live example up, but my LinkedIn refreshed. But you'll see these that are highly, see if I can catch one here. I
saw my face in your feed there.
You're all over the place, Dan.
It's it, man.
But this is where even recruiters themselves can go ahead and share this and say, hey, this is the type of work that I do. This is what I strive to do. And so, like in this example, it gets great responses. It's a manager saying this is the quality you can expect. And so there's a lot of ways that you can get this out in front of your audience, not just on your website or on Google. And then it's the website integration that I showed you. So overall, when you think about it, that's the CAMP framework. That's capture, act on, measure, promote. And then the piece that we released here most recently is really around the recognition and awards. And this is really twofold. This is about how do you recognize and award your people internally for the great work that they're doing, but then also Great Recruiters has these different distinctions that we provide. So we have our Great Recruiters certified for individuals, over 30 reviews with 4.5 stars. We're going to be doing more to gamify this, as you kind of talked about. Won't that be fun? 50 reviews, 100 reviews. I love it. You've got your GR certified for organizations, and these are firms that have the quality process in place that we've audited and stood behind to say they have the process in place to ensure the quality of their services, and they have the transparency where they're sharing this data on their website. And then we have our top rated, which is most recent. And from a top rated, we're going to be doing this. We do this every half we're going to start doing this every quarter. We're going to be incorporating not just agencies, but recruiters. And so I'm excited about lifting this industry up and providing a way for candidates and clients to identify and know who the great recruiters are in the industry, because it's definitely the first place they should start when they're looking for one.
I think it's great. And, and I think you've nailed it. I like that you're going with the quarterly piece and kind of highlighting people up. I think you're really hitting the social proof really, really strong. And as I look at this, it's almost, and you look at, I'm a bit of a car guy, right? But you see all the car commercials and like JD Power, right? Is like all the awards that you give. So you're kind of like the JD Power for the recruiting industry in a sense, because you're really recognizing, recruiters, companies across different industries, across different disciplines. I think it's great. It definitely creates the social proof, and all of that other content, including that personalized job board you're having, is just going to basically drive views back to the agency, which is really, now you are clearly hitting in 3 quadrants of the recruiting quadrants here. And I almost feel like the fact that you're integrating so deeply with these ATSs that you might even get into the ATS mining quadrant some way, shape, or form. I'm willing to bet that's probably coming up in a few months too. So
well,
that'd be
there's
pretty amazing.
definitely we push scores back in, right? So we push your GR rating. So why not find a short list of Java engineers that have already given your recruiters a 5-star review? So why don't you go ahead and leverage that to use your automation and nurture those individuals, right? We talked about making these communities. And the big thing is we want candidates to stick with us forever. And the candidate's not going to stick with one firm usually, but if you have 2 or 3 trusted firms and recruiters that you work with, how do you maintain that relationship with them?
And so that what you just said is huge. If you think about the symbiotic relationship that great recruiters would have with like a staffing referrals, right? Like they mine the database and they're trying to find people and they want to promote employee referrals. They're saying, hey, go refer somebody, earn a little bit of cash, participate. But if you could actually shortlist and be maybe more frequency, or even maybe monetize a little bit more to people that have offered reviews, it's like, hey, we know these 6,000 people, have offered us reviews, or 1,300 within the last 12 months. Let's ping them first and say, hey, you thought this highly of us. Thank you. Or maybe only ping the people that gave you a 4 or a better, right? Because honestly, if someone gave you a 1 or 2 and you're like, hey, go tell your friends about me, they're going to go tell their friends that you're a 1 or a 2, So you might be into the ATS mining quadrant before we know it, Adam.
Before we know it. And I'll tell you, we got a great relationship and partnership with staffing referrals. I was looking at a client we had referred over to them, and they've since going live. It's I don't know exactly when they went live, but 15% of the referrals were attributed back to great recruiters. So out of the referrals they got, 15% came from us because we're early in the process. And when we ask for a referral is during the review process. So when somebody had a great experience, we're asking for that referral. Now, where staffing referrals picks up that we leave off is then turning them into an ambassador and how they can continue to expand that and manage that, the economic side of it, of making sure that we're not tracking and referral management. We're all about referral and lead generation, right? That's what we want to help do. And so when you put products like that together, reviews drive great referrals. End of story, right? You're not going to refer somebody you don't trust.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to say that you specialize really in that experience side, because if you don't have a good experience, if you're not creating a culture in your staffing organization to have a solid experience, people aren't going to be giving you the social proof of positivity, which means you don't have a referral culture. But if you actually focus on the experience, that's going to amplify the number of people that are going to give referrals.
Well, and think about it.
That really is a good symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. And I call you up and I say, Dan, hey, I learn about you and we have a good, and you're like, I just don't have anything for you, Dan. I was like, you know what? But we place a lot of ITs and engineering talent. Hey, if there's any referrals that you can trust that they're going to be in good hands, hopefully by my conversation with you, but also now I'm leveraging our reviews that you're like, okay, Adam might not have gotten me placed, but that's fine. But I know he works for an organization that cares about people. So if I have friends, why wouldn't I want to refer it back? And that's what you need to do to create that community and allow these pieces to connect themselves, and you really have a strong review and referral program together, you're going to reduce your dependency on third-party sites, because you're just going to keep that database going, nurturing that database, driving the referrals, getting the reviews, knowing you're doing a good job, and being that trusted agency that people are looking for.
I love it, man. I love it. Anything else in the showcase here that you got in store for us?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just we're trusted. I mean, I encourage everybody to read our reviews. They're not manufactured, they're through other third parties. We're working with some great organizations across multiple verticals. But I think one of the biggest things that we hear from new customers is how easy it is to set up and how quickly they get results. Our clients, we had one client go live. They went back to everyone they placed in the last 6 months, and they got over 300 reviews and over like 80 referrals.
No way.
Like day one results. And I had a customer come to me and she said, "This is the best investment I've ever made in my 30 years in any product. This is the biggest ROI I've gotten," because it's not just one thing. It's making recruiters feel good. It's helping drive leads back to your organization. It's helping you identify issues that you can jump on that you just were not aware of. And the reality is, from my experience implementing tech, we wanted to make it easy. So we literally can have you up, running, getting results in 48 hours or less. So, for me, this is obviously a passion of mine. I love this industry. I want to keep making it better. And ultimately, like I said, we want to help you create great experiences. When you get that feedback, you can unleash that full potential. You know where you're at. And ultimately, it's going to help you maximize your growth for those companies who want to embrace that and are looking to grow. I think we're a critical part of those companies' tech stacks.
I think it's huge. And honestly, again, yet another cherry on the top. I feel like so many unintended benefits here, but people think, oh, I don't want to try something new. It's one more thing. It's technology. The implementation is going to be crazy, right? We're experienced with that. But if you can actually set it up that quickly, but what you just said, unintended, if someone's like, hey, we signed up and then we just did a quick survey within this certain period of time, and we got this many reviews to kind of supercharge our brand reputation, and we got 80 referrals. If there's a company out there right now that you're like, I have more job openings than I do good candidates, like this would be worth probably just signing up just to clear your job order board, or just to take another kind of wave at it. And people can, like, they can go try this out. There is a kind of a risk-free sort of way to engage with great recruiters and actually get in the driver's seat of this with a free account, free profile. How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a GR starter account for those companies that want to just kind of dip their foot in the water and just kind of get used to maybe what kind of feedback they're going to get. So that's completely free for them to use. And then they can get into, we have 3 different plans. We have a core plan that helps them just get feedback, and it helps bring all those digital assets that I talked about to the company level. They can go to our pro plan, which then unleashes the third-party referral booster, or third-party review booster, the referrals and the recruiter profiles. So usually once many companies are ready for the pro, because they're like, I get it, I want it, I want my recruiters to have a profile. For those that might be a little uncertain, they always start with that core plan. It gets them easy, and it's easy enough to upgrade once you find it. And then what happens usually is, this is working so great for our recruiters, can we start implementing for our onboarding process, or our compliance department, or we want to get our salespeople on here. And that's how we've been built, is to help you get results fast and then be able to plug into other meaningful parts of your organization.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really do appreciate you taking us through that and showing us a deeper experience for how this works. And just to recap for those that are, paying attention to this, we live in this quadrant of recruitment. We're trying to always optimize those 4 boxes, because that's where candidates come from that we can place into our open roles. And as you've seen here today, we've moved into a society that is so dependent on social proof that in order to fully optimize recruitment marketing, or even job ad strategy, or certainly the employee referral program, like we talked about with the synergies with staffing referrals, you need social proof. If anybody is going to come to your website and think, I want to apply here and put my career in the hands of this recruiter, they're going to feel better about you if you have that social proof, if other people and a lot of other people have said nice things about you as a recruiter. So this is really the level up tool for the recruitment quadrants that we're talking about so deeply this month, and you're going to hear a lot about throughout the rest of the year. So Adam, I want to just thank you for this. If someone wants more information or they want to see a full demo, behind the scenes dashboard, all that stuff, what's the best way to get a hold of you to do that?
Best way is you can go to our website and click on request a demo. We'll get you set up with somebody. You can feel free to reach out to me directly, adam@greatrecruiters.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. All the easy ways. You can go directly to our pricing page and sign up for a GR starter account. Our team will be made aware. We'll help you get all set up and going. And if you're ready to go after this, then just contact us. We'll make the process really easy, and we'll get you on board and up and running in less than 48 hours.
That's right. And anyone that clicks on that link is going to get a shirt that says "Great Recruiters are great" in a Google search bar, right?
I'm working on it next, man. I love it.
All right, man. Hey, buddy, thanks for being here and showing this to us. And I look forward to catching up with you soon and following up with you in a few months on some of those things we put in the parking lot.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Cheers. Have a great rest of your day.